Alright guys, I've got some Camaro parts here for sale. You might be able to even fashion another Camaro out of all these parts. I will say that there will be some assembly required, maybe some minor welding, but you know, it's possible. Could happen. So, and I'll sell them to you cheap, real cheap. You pay the shipping, and yeah, we'll talk about it. PM me. You know I'm joking. That's my humor again. So I got this on. Got all this cleaned up. Got the welds and everything. This is just sitting on there. I was trying to get this thing back to where I had 3 3 or 7/8 of an inch or whatever between here and here, and that's what I had measured originally. And it just was not happening. Well, it had this. Oh, let's see. I got it upside down. You can see here. See that little notch in that? If it shows that it was sitting and hitting right there, and it was keeping it that much farther back. And I was beating on it, trying to get it to go. Couldn't figure out. I finally looked up here and saw that, and I was like, what hell? So I just cut that off. And yeah, so she slid right into place. So be mindful that these tabs are longer and taller, and you know, they give you a little extra metal. So you may have some issues like that. I went ahead and marked this to where this is where this needs to stay. Everything seems to be pretty good. I'll probably go over to Daryl's house and measure, probably, you know, from a certain point to a certain point on his car, and try to get. I measured this before I took it off, and it's real close right now, but I'm going to do some extra measuring on his car, I think, and make sure everything's jiving like it's supposed to. And you can see here, you know, these, where I pop these welds, look like they're probably going to be just fine, but up in here, you're getting pretty close, you know, to not having enough. Well, this really can't go up anymore, unless I cut all this out, which I could. That'll come up a little bit more maybe, but yeah, it's kind of weird, because if you break this loose, see that pops way down. You can lift it back up a little bit, but it's not too bad on the gap up here, but underneath it's pretty substantial. I don't know if you can see, but at the very end it comes together like it's supposed to, but then in the center it pushes in that direction, and then as it comes back to this side, it goes back to where it's supposed to. So I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if maybe, because there doesn't seem to be anything in this area bent or whatever, and like I said, this seems to be pretty good, but I don't know, you know, if when the car was hitting the back, if it flexed it and these squeezed in that direction, you know. I mean, it's just so hard to say. So alright, so from here I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning this up. Now I cleaned all this with a red Scotch-Brite and some isopropyl alcohol just to clean it, just to get, because it was pretty dirty through here. I know it still looks that way, but from here I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of 80 grit on the DA and scuff this, and then go back over with this red Scotch-Brite to make sure I didn't miss any spots before I epoxy it. But I may need to cut that out of there, because we're not reusing this stuff here. But I got to clean all this up, and I'm going to clean all this. I may end up taking the rear quarter off and getting all that, you know. So when I mix up some epoxy, I can go ahead and do what I need to do for this whole side, basically. I'm not sure yet, but I'll probably take one of those nylon wheels and get this all cleaned up. They seem to work real well for that. So, but yeah, there you go. I may end up painting with a brush getting down inside these little nooks and crannies that I can't get with the sprayer. So yeah, I got a lot of work to do. See you. Now, that's the water that would have continued into the tank. But because of this and that dryer, it stops before it gets in the tank. And then if it does get some condensation through, it has to stop there. Then it goes up the wall and comes across. We've talked about this before, but today is really humid, and I've been running the piss out of the compressor, cleaning all this. So I thought I'd kind of go back over this with you real quick. You see, I've been running that quite a bit to get that rust off there. So it comes up and it comes down. I've got a drop here, then it comes over. As you can see right there, that'll focus in. There's 0 bubbles in there at all. So then it comes through here. It's got another drop here. It goes up and across and then through my line into my air tools. Now if I'm painting, I got another precautionary deal where I can go through this toilet paper filter, which is still brand new. It's never been, it doesn't have, I've used it multiple times and it's still like brand new. Then it has to go through this one, through my air hose, which I never get any water, never any problems. So what am I trying to say? I'm back to beating that horse again. If you don't have one of those dryer condenser type deals, man, it's worth its weight in gold, I'm telling you. Alright, so pretty shiny, pretty good. I need to clean it up a little, alcohol. I may have to try sandblast down in here or something, I don't know. I may take a little wire wheel or something, try to get in there. I think most of that's dirt. Little crevices that I just can't get in, I could probably take a little Dremel type tool and get in here. Again, I got a spot blaster, but that thing makes such a freaking mess. It's just, I find sand for days just using a little. I mean, that stuff goes everywhere. It's crazy. And I even have a little capture system, and it's just a mess. So yeah, I need to figure out where I'm going to cut this piece out. I may have to sandblast into these pits too. I don't know if I'll cut this whole piece out, this whole corner out and make it, or if I'll just cut this in here, you know, and just make this piece, because this all seems to be pretty good still, just pitted. But I'll figure it out one way or the other. Yeah, lots of work. If you guys aren't interested in work and lots of it, don't do a project car, because it's a lot of work. So yeah, I mean, just stuff you don't think about when you go to get a car and you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, I think I'd like to restore this. Don't forget, there's hundreds upon hundreds of spot welds, and you got to sit and drill every one of those out and separate every panel, and then clean the panels, and then prep the panels, and then epoxy the panels, and then it just keeps going. But yeah, I think I'm going to need to pull all this off to get up into this, to get this surface crap off of that. This is all coming out, so that doesn't matter. I'm not going to clean any of that up. It's just going to be removed. But I'll probably need to remove that and this piece here so I can clean that really well with a DA. So yeah, and get this side done, and I'll re-epoxy those pieces and all this stuff together. And I won't have to worry about overspray since everything's pretty much out of it. And everything else is going to have to be sanded too. So I may end up having to cover that glass, I guess. I'm looking at now, but no big deal. Alright guys, I don't know how much more progress I'll get today. It's almost 4 o'clock, and I may go ahead and try to work on this a little bit more. But this video is going to be really long, and so I may cut it there. I may bring you back if I get anything else worth talking about, but you know, it's just general cleaning right now, and like I said, I'll have to get that out of there and figure out what kind of patch I'm going to make for it. So alright, see you. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for today. I know it doesn't seem like much, but I had to fix that wonderful piece of machinery out there. But we got something done. We made more mess. That's good. And so the car's gone. I was telling Kevin just now on text. I said, you know, by the time I'm done pulling all these panels off, because I was wondering how am I going to lift the body, lift the skeleton up off the floor. Well, hell, this thing will be so damn light by the time I'm done, I ought to be able to just pick it up and carry it, sit it over in the floor here, set my floor pan and brace and everything up, weld it all together, then pick my body back up and sit it back on it. Because there's not a whole lot there. So, yeah, I'm hoping when I cut this rear off, it'll allow some of this to kind of relax and do what it's supposed to do. But we'll see. So, thanks for hanging with me. I know this is going to be a long video. I know there's going to be 3 people that watch it. Most people are going to skip through it. That's okay. But, yeah, for the 3 people who watched it, high five. You're awesome. And we'll talk to you next time.